Here are 10 of the world's rarest birds. Number 1. The Madagascar Pochard. Rightfully dubbed the world's rarest duck, the Madagascar Pochard almost didn't beat extinction. In fact, this Pochard was feared to have gone extinct in 1992 after the last known individual died in a zoo. For over a decade, no sightings of the bird came about, and all hope was lost for the bird. However, the duck was rediscovered in 2006 on the opposite side of the island from where it had last been seen. Soon, a captive breeding program began which proved to be successful. Now there are around 120 individuals in the world, and that number continues to grow each year. Number 2. The blue-eyed ground dove. Only found in Brazil, the blue-eyed ground dove was first collected in the early 1800s. After a couple of sightings persisted in the next 100 years, the ground dove disappeared in 1941. For 75 years there was no recordings of the bird, and it was thought to be extinct. However, the bird was rediscovered accidentally when a scientist who was studying birds in a remote region of Brazil heard an unfamiliar bird. After recording the sound, he listened to it later and found out there was a blue-eyed ground dove, far from the place where the 1800 specimens were collected. There are now an estimated 31 birds in the wild, with hopes that a captive breeding program can increase that number. Number 3. The Kaempfer's woodpecker. Also called the Piauí woodpecker, this beautiful bird from Brazil was first discovered in 1926. However, after that first specimen was collected, there were no more sightings of the Kaempfer's woodpecker after that, and the bird just disappeared. Everyone thought that the woodpecker had gone the way of the dodo, but all this changed 80 years later in 2006 during a mist netting session when an adult male was captured in central Brazil. This sighting shocked the world and made national headlines. Now, thanks to conservation efforts, this woodpecker is estimated to have between 1,000 to 4,000 birds left in the wild. Number 4. The forest owlet. First found in 1873 by F.R. Blueweedy in central India, the forest owlet lived in remote teak forests. After 6 more specimens were found shortly after, this bird disappeared in 1884. After it wasn't sighted for 100 years, the owlet was declared extinct. Then, in 1997, Pamela Rasmussen, along with other ornithologists, found and took photos of the forest owlet. They also discovered that there was at least 50 of these birds left in the wild. Why such a large number of forest owlets went undercover for 100 years was a mystery until it was discovered that the previous expeditions to find the bird relied on a fake location given on a specimen. This specimen of the forest owlet was stolen by an ornithologist in the early 20th century to be kept in his private bird collection, and then was written with a fake location so no one would realize that the specimen was stolen. It is truly a blessing that this criminal act didn't cause the demise of the bird, and that the forest owlet is still with us today. Number 5. The Bermuda Petrel. One of the craziest recovery stories of all time, the Bermuda Petrel was first discovered in the 1500s by Spanish sailors on the island of Bermuda. Back then, the Bermuda Petrel was estimated to have at least 500,000 birds in the wild. However, overhunting and introduced hogs decimated the petrel's population. The last straw for the petrel was when an English ship wrecked on Bermuda in 1609. This introduced rats, dogs, and cats to the island, which all prey on the petrel's eggs. By the 1620s, the Bermuda petrel was declared extinct. For 300 years, the bird had no confirmed sightings until a dead Bermuda petrel was found in 1935. After 2 more sightings of the bird were seen in the years that followed, 3 ornithologists went looking for this once thought to be extinct bird and found 18 nesting pairs on the island off the coast of Bermuda in 1951. Now there are close to 300 Bermuda petrels in the wild, with that number growing each year. Number 6. The Rarotonga Monarch. Only found on the Cook Islands, this flycatcher was once the rarest flycatcher in the world. In fact, in the 1980s, the monarch's population was down to around 30 individuals. This was caused by rats and feral cats being introduced to the islands, which killed both adult birds and their eggs. Now, thanks to conservation efforts, the Rarotonga Monarch has around 500 individuals in the wild. This bird species is critical to save, as it is the only bird species in the world to change its plumage based on its age, as it is orange when it is young and becomes gray when it gets older. Number 7. The night parrot. In 1845, Scottish explorer John Stuart collected the very first night parrot specimen in Central Australia. After 23 more specimens were found shortly after, the night parrot seemingly disappeared, with the last confirmed specimen collected in 1912. With no confirmed sightings from 1912 to 1979, this parrot was declared extinct by many ornithologists. Then, in 1979, an ornithologist saw an apparent flock of night parrots, and in 1990, a dead night parrot was found alongside a road. After another dead bird was found in 2006, people started to believe that this parrot was still alive. In 2015, ornithologists Steve Murphy and Rachel Barr found and captured the first ever photos and videos of the night parrot. Now there's an estimated 30 to 100 birds in the wild, with conservation efforts trying to increase that number. Number 8. The white-winged guan. Endemic to Peru, this species of guan was first collected in 1876 and 1877. However, after the 3 specimens were collected in those 2 years, the white-winged guan simply disappeared. For the next 100 years, there was no sightings of the white-winged guan, and the bird was thought to be extinct. However, in 1977, the bird was rediscovered in the Andes along some large canyons. This species is now estimated to have around 200 individuals in the wild, with this number going up each year thanks to the Peruvian government setting up nature reserves to protect the bird's habitat. Number 9. The large-billed Reed-warbler. In 2007, this species of Reed-warbler was declared the world's least known bird. This was because it was known for only 1 specimen collected in 1867 and 1 sighting of the bird in 2006. Nothing was known about the large-billed Reed-warbler, and no one knew where it bred. This changed in 2008 when a team of scientists found a breeding site of the Reed-warbler in Afghanistan. After other studies were done in the area, it was concluded that this bird breeds in several locations in Afghanistan, Tajikistan, and possibly Kazakhstan. Little is known about the bird's population. However, it is estimated to have between 1,500 to 5,000 birds left in the wild. Number 10. The Hawaiian Crow. The rarest crow in the world, the Hawaiian Crow is listed as extinct in the wild, as the last wild population disappeared in 2002. Thankfully, there were around 24 birds in captivity at the time. This captive population quickly grew in number after 2002, and scientists started to reintroduce these birds back into their native habitat in 2016. Reintroduction efforts were not successful though, mainly because of predation from the Hawaiian hawk. However, not all hope is lost for this species, as there is a plan in place to release several Hawaiian crows on the island of Maui sometime in 2024. Maui doesn't have any hawks, and the hope is that these Hawaiian crows can become self-sustaining and finally remove the extinct in the wild label.